Media Campus, another wonderful Wednesday morning, September the 15th. Beware the Ides of September. I think it was supposed to be the Ides of March. What do you think about it? It was the Ides of March. This is We Will Not Comply. Good morning, Long Island in America. It's another good day.
Good morning, my neighbors.
There he goes. The what was that? Coming to America. Good morning, my great scene. Funny movie.
I'm sure there's somebody out there responding just the way Eddie Murphy's name is.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. They're probably liberal too.
I'm sure they were all at the school board meeting last night.
Please let me. I would play the audio. I'm gonna play it later in the week because there's so much to talk about, and I didn't really make the whole transfer. But if we're gonna talk about the board meeting off the bat, the president of the West Babylon School Board is more brutal than Nancy Pelosi. First of all, she's got this little gavel, and she talked about it. I've hit this gavel more times the last 4 weeks than I've hit my 30 years. And why must you talk about the little hammer? I'm going to bring one next time and start and knock it and just see. I can do it too.
First off, if one doesn't use the gavel, then why have the gavel? So what you're saying is you've had a useless instrument for 30 years.
Right, and now she's finally using it. And last night she was telling everyone to stop interrupting her. But she just stepped on everybody who was talking. So rules are for thee, not for me. Oh, my goodness. Don't you think if we had the choice that we would take the kids out of mass? I don't know. We asked you if you had the choice if you would take the kids out of mass 4 weeks ago. You didn't have an answer.
That's funny because we actually have the choice to take the gavel out of her hand.
Yeah. Oh, she actually told somebody last night. She was like, oh, you think it's easy getting elected? You run a campaign. And I'm like,
don't do that, lady.
Let's not get too giddy there because we will, and you'll be sitting in the audience next year, kind of with no gavel, by the way.
With no gavel.
Gavelless.
Gavelless.
So, anyway, that's what's going on. That was the board meeting last night, West Babylon. They had a petition that came by. I mean, I straight up told her, she's like, well, will you finish what you're saying? I went, I will once you stop interrupting me. And then, they all got fake outrage. Oh, I can't believe you would talk to her like that.
I reclaim my
these
time.
Frauds. A lot of these people on the board, the minute you clap back at them or you step up to them, it's like, I can't believe you would do that.
Well, you have to understand every person on the PTA board is just an overzealous, or everyone on the school board is just an overzealous PTA mom. The one that got kicked out.
Some of them.
The one that got kicked out of the Cub Scouts for just being a little too intense.
A little crazy. Some of them, I mean, there's a couple allies on there. And they spoke their minds last night in West Babylon. But,
yes.
The minute you challenge, I asked, can you score a point? Can you win a football game without scoring a point? Her answer was, I don't watch football. That wasn't the question. All right. And you don't have to watch football to know that if you score 0 points, it's impossible to win the game.
You ought to know. You're a Jet fan.
Yes, I know for a fact. If you score no points, you can't win. She said, well, you can't lose.
You know what? But that says a lot about the mindset that we have in America. That the goal is to not lose.
Right, but even though
the goal is not to win. The goal is not to lose.
Well, what did Herman Edwards? Hello, you
play to win the game.
The game, right? You don't play it, just play it, right? So
you don't play to just play.
She doesn't know Herm Edwards. She's got to learn a little hugging Herm. But it was quite funny. Well, you can't lose with 0 points. I'm like, I am a Jet fan. You definitely can lose by scoring 0 points.
You absolutely can.
That's absolutely the thing. So I'll play some of that on Friday. I'll move that over and I'll play some of that on Friday so you can hear just how rude and silly and hypocritical our board was. And that when you go and deal with some of these school board folks, people who behave like that, who get a little drunk with the power, who starts swinging the gavel around like Darth Vader with his lightsaber, look what I could do with this gavel. I'll bang it on the table. Then you must listen to me. It's cute. It's funny. Okay, I think I'm Judge Judy. Okay, that's good. But once all the playtime is over, you're going to realize that these people are just they're hiding behind the state as normal. And and I will and I'll just leave it at that. We'll play that for you on Friday. That's pretty funny. But we're starting. Listen, last night, California Recall didn't take as long as we thought it would take for results to come in. That failed rather miserably, unfortunately.
I'm not going to pretend I'm not upset about it.
I'm not
surprised. That got significantly worse overnight.
Yeah, 64-35 was the numbers that came in. Look, there's a multitude of factors. We heard it on Newsmax last night. The one woman who said that because Larry Elder is a national name, and he turned this into a national election and started promising appointing Republican senators if Dianne Feinstein went down, and now all of a sudden losing the governor's seat in California wouldn't just cost them a blue governor's seat, but it would cost them a Senate seat as well. Might have woke up too many people. I think that's interesting, and I think that might be the case. I also think Larry Elder was a weak candidate. I don't think he's a bad person. I don't think he's a dumb person. I don't think he's somebody who you can't trust their voice or that, hasn't said good things, or quite possibly somebody that wasn't going to be better than Gavin Newsom. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that he was a weak candidate. He was wishy-washy on a lot of people are going, well, it was rigged. Well, Larry Elder seems to think that, he didn't want to speak that boldly about 2020, but now people want to speak that boldly about the recall. He had voter fraud stuff set up all up and down California, just in case you see something. I thought it was fair and square. These were his words, not mine. Then you have the bathroom issue, which is a sticking point with me. A lot of people say that's a silly hill to die on. I go, look, there's two bathrooms, right? There's the men's room and the women's room, and the rules are already there. It's pretty much that simple, wishy-washy. And I took a lot of heat on Twitter. Well, you have to campaign as a moderate to win these races in California, from the election experts on Twitter that I talked to, right? And now I look at it 65-35 and I go, well, maybe we need a firebrand instead of the old brand. It's not to say Larry Elder's bad, right? But you need someone someone who's exciting. I listen to Larry Elder. He's a talk show host, but he's very calming, right? It's not to say he's got to get up and go screaming and yelling. You need someone exciting. Was Larry Elder, were people really excited to vote for Larry Elder? Clearly they weren't as excited as we all thought. I didn't think he was going to win. I didn't think it was going to be 65-35. That's brutal.
Well, one thing else to consider that I was thinking about last night on the way home, this is the first time California has lost congressional seats due to the mass exodus of California. So I'm wondering, you have to assume that everyone who left California is a Republican.
Some of them, but not all.
Some of them. But the people that would have voted to recall Newsom have left.
No, I don't know about that.
Even just the names that you hear on a national level. Joe Rogan or Ben Shapiro or Elon Musk, people like that, names on a national level. How many people have left California that would have voted to recall?
I don't think Joe Rogan would have voted to recall.
I think he would have 100%.
He wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, but
you can't get left of Rogan.
But he hates Gavin Newsom.
He says he hates Gavin Newsom.
Well, I can only take the man for what he says.
Yeah, and he's a Bernie supporter.
I don't like him.
I'm just, I don't think he's going to vote to recall, but that's one guy.
No, but I'm saying there has been such a mass exodus in California that I wonder how much that had to do with the Elder campaign believing that there may have been more votes out there than there really were.
There's been a mass exodus from Cali into Texas, and you've seen Texas start to fade closer to blue. They say, don't California my Texas. I don't know how many folks that are leaving California are actually Republican. Look, there's plenty of red votes that are fleeing the blue states because the blue states are miserable. You're seeing it here in New York. I don't know if it made that much of a difference.
Oh, I don't think it made a what is that?
Yeah, it's a 35-point margin.
A 2 million vote swing.
But, he got doubled up here almost. But
I think it would have been. I think they would have considered it a success if they had gotten 60-40.
55-45, 60-40, maybe. It's unfortunate though when you look at see, like, this is what I'm talking about right here. Kevin Costner. Why is Kevin Costner running for, you know what I mean? Like this is the problem. I think that there's no candidate. Kevin Costner is not going to inspire people to come out and vote. All right. The guy was great in Field of Dreams.
Well, he did
pretty good in Draft Day. Well, that's about it.
He did inspire people to come out of the cornfield.
Right. Yeah. Shoeless Joe Jackson came out of the corn. Baseball, Ray. So, look, that's not to say I don't think, again, that's not to say I don't think Kevin Costner could do a better job than Gavin Newsom. I'm pretty sure that, there's a roll of tape on this table that can probably do a better job than Gavin Newsom, because the roll of tape won't be able to consciously decide to make everybody stay inside or wear masks, right? It would be less likely to shut down the state. That's not to say anything about Kevin Costner and that he's a bad choice, but he's not. The whole idea that I'm trying to like kind of shed light on. There are so many people in the old school still who think that a Larry Elder is the answer to get people excited and to win this election. Again, when he announced that he was running, I got excited, and then I saw him start to run towards the center of the room, right, to avoid criticism, and that didn't work out too well. And I said, well, maybe this isn't the guy we need. We need a firebrand.
Issue. That was on the one issue that you're upset about. There's two issues. He's very right on a lot of things.
There's two issues that he was wishy-washy. Look, you can't figure out the bathroom, and then you know what? You have the nerve to talk about election fraud, but you're going to talk very wishy-washy about 2020. Not bold enough to say that.
Well, there was a lot of things coming out yesterday from all the northern areas of California saying that people had said that people were being told that they had voted already.
Yeah, and that happened in 2020. But according to Larry Elder, there was nothing to worry about in 2020. All of the issues that you found out about last night, coming out of Northern Cali. Oh, it said you voted. Oh, that we're going to expect the votes to come in waves. All of these things that Elder himself had issues with last night. Those issues were present in the 2020 election, and Larry Elder dismissed that earlier in his campaign. So it's you want to talk about a rigged, you want to talk about stolen, you want to say that the elections aren't fair. First of all, it's really, and I said this to people on Twitter last night, you can't continue to repeat it. Lynn Wood was at it again on Telegram, telling people, it's fraud and it's this. You can't tell people not to vote. That's a losing strategy. That goes back to the question that I asked our board last night, right? If you don't score a point, or rather, you don't even try to score a point in a football game, unless you're playing the Jets, you can't win because the Jets give you points sometimes. They'll just, hey, here you go. Here, you want this? You could just literally, we've done this. Like the butt fumble, like it's here, have the ball and go take it for a touchdown.
The butt fumble. What a moment to stake your franchise on. I mean, some of us have the greatest catch of all time.
All right, yeah.
For their
we have the greatest fumble of all time.
The greatest. Beat 18 and one giant loss.
But we had the greatest fumble. We had the greatest fumble of all time.
Although right now there are a bunch of kids running around in Uganda with a t-shirt
19-0.
With 19-0 t-shirts on, which is the greatest story on planet Earth.
Better than no clothes, which is good. So thanks to the Patriots for losing.
You're clothing a lot of
you're clothing
a lot of poor kids.
That's it. But hey, I mean, at least it went towards a good cause. But if you don't try to score points and you don't score points, you can't win. And so telling people not to vote or casting so much doubt on the system that people now start to question, well, if I go vote, does my vote count? You are now essentially taking players off of the field.
Absolutely.
And that's a problem. So no matter how you feel about the elections, if you want an audit in 50 states, if you want 2 audits in 50 states, if you want to audit everything under the sun, that's perfectly fine. I'm with you. I want election transparency. I want election integrity. I'm all about what you're talking about. Believe me. But, okay, this is the big but. I like big butts, okay? And I cannot lie. When you look at it, wow. When you look at it, it just comes out now. But when you're thinking
7:10 in the morning, everyone.
When you're thinking,
he does it in his sleep.
It does. Yes, I need to wake up in a couple of hours. It's a wonderful thing. So,
Kilby.
When you're not trying to score, when you're taking players off the field, when you're constantly casting doubt on the system, you are convincing people not to vote. You are convincing your own side to play to lose. It's this simple. Vote as if there's nothing wrong. And then work the polls. You got to get trained on it. You can't just walk into a polling station and go, I'm a poll watcher. That's not how that works. You do have to get trained on it. But if election integrity means as much to the people that I saw on Twitter last night, that some of us are on the chat every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if it means that much to you guys, go ahead, get in contact with your board of elections, get yourselves trained up to be poll watchers, be those eyes and ears on November 2nd this year in the local elections, whether it's New York City or Nassau County or Suffolk County, be the eyes and ears, be the boots on the ground, be the reason why they don't steal it. And you'll see you can make a difference that way too. But unless you're willing to put up in that regard, stop telling people, well, it doesn't matter, it's rigged anyway, because California may have been rigged. There may have been funny business, but I refuse to believe that the reason why this no passed last night, that Gavin Newsom was not recalled, was completely because of rigging. This would have happened whether it was rigged or not rigged. This was a bloodbath last night. It's a 2.6 million vote difference. Okay. That's not all of us as a result of cheating. You have a demographic, in terms of a voter layout that you have to overcome. There are twice as many Democrats as there are Republicans.
Go down to Orange County.
All right. Even Orange County went 52-47 no. Okay.
Orange County is run by Republicans. The Board of Election is run by Republicans. Kevin McCarthy, the next Speaker of the House, hopefully, is from Orange County. Although it is odd that all the rural areas seem to have voted yes. All the ones off the coast, those are interesting numbers.
Well, the coastals, they said it was the inland voted yes,
and all the people in Northern California who have been trying to join Idaho for the last 5 years.
Right, the coastals voted yes, no. The coastals voted no, and
although I will say that
yes.
that the southeast of California and the south, where all the sanctuary cities are,
no, they voted all in. 55.
They all voted yes. No, excuse me.
They all voted to keep Gavin Newsom. But I refuse to believe that this is all 100% as a result of fraud. And there are folks trying to convince me on Twitter that, hey, because of the fraud, this is what happened. Maybe the numbers are this wide. Take fraud out of the occasion. Maybe save yourself 10 to 15 percentage points. You're still way behind the 8 ball if you want to say that it played that much of a role. So, look, if you have questions about fraud, maybe Larry Elder should be the first person that you talk to, considering he thought there was nothing wrong with 2020. And don't ask him about the bathroom, because you'll get an answer that you're not going to like. Other than that, and also I find it odd, Donald Trump did not endorse him. He didn't really touch the race. I think he realized that it was probably better off not touching, because there's not a lot of
because they were
involved there,
because they were making it about Trumpism.
Right, and he stayed away. But, I find it funny, these guys like Elder and others, they'll use his name, like Lindsey Graham, like Mitch McConnell, they use his name, and then when it's time to actually get up and stand for him, they pretend like the guy doesn't exist. It's okay, because we'll remember that, Elder, again, he's a smart man. He's generally a good voice, and I don't have to agree 100% with him. But if I can't agree with you on men go in the men's room and ladies go in the ladies' room, I probably can't agree with you on much else, or trust your opinion on much else, just because I feel like that's a simple concept. With regards to 2020, that's something that we can have a discussion about another day. Was it fraudulent? Was it not? Was it this? Was it that? But I find it odd that the man who ran last night and complained about fraud said there was no fraud when he wasn't in the race, which is interesting. So. Just little things on the Cali Recall. It did not do very well. They're counting the mail-in ballots now. The race is over. 64-35, 65-35, whatever you want to say. It was a bloodbath.
They called it.
They called it last night at around 11:30.
At 11:30. So
11:30 our time.
Yeah, they closed it a half hour after the polls closed.
And they were like, okay, this is done. Okay. So
there must have been such a turnout in the Bay. They said there was a turnout in the Bay Area in LA, like they just didn't expect. San Diego went to keep Newsom, which I was confused about, because the mayor of San Diego is a potential Republican nominee for governor. They've been throwing his name off the top of my head. I can't remember it, but San Diego is a very red area, or excuse me, I should say very red for California.
Well, yeah, it's one of the more red bureaus. It's more conservative. Counties. It's one of the more conservative counties. California is still so tough, because you lose the turnout battle.
The only person who had a worse day yesterday than Larry Elder
is General Milley. Yeah,
he's a fan of
China. Okay,
I was gonna do the impression, but
you see, when you look at it, General Milley talked to China. He said to China, "Don't worry. If we're going to attack you, we're going to let you know ahead of time.
We're going to let you know ahead of time."
Yeah.
He told General Lee of China that if we're going to attack you,
was it the same General Lee that Joe Biden asked if was in Afghanistan? Robert E. Lee. He did say that. He was talking about it the other day. And he was like, boxing. He said something about boxing. And then he was like, General Lee, Afghanistan, we would have won. And I'm like, Robert E. Lee in Afghanistan? What?
Joe Biden's transporting throughout centuries.
Joe Biden is out of his mind. General Mark Milley, the woke general. He should have pink hair soon.
I can't imagine why he has those bags under his eyes. I'm sure he doesn't stay up very late.
Oh, geez. Secret back channels, unbeknownst to then President Donald Trump. General Mark Milley informed leaders from the Chinese Communist Party and the Democrat Party that he would not carry out, quote, any kind of military action ordered by Trump. Now, I want to preface this and tell you to take this, and this is how I take this so far. This is from a Bob Woodward book, okay? Bob Woodward, I've never trusted a day in my life, okay? He's the king of the anonymous source. In this new book called Peril, which details some of what General Milley allegedly did, and I'm going to say allegedly because every source in this book, there's like 200 sources, all anonymous. So who knows if these sources are real or not? So let's not be the left. Let's not be CNN and say Milley definitely did this, because we don't know if he definitely did this. So I'm going to preface it by saying if he did this, we have to have a very serious conversation. What is this that General Milley allegedly did?
And one more thing about this. People like to throw out the T word often, treason.
Oh, that's a word.
And look, people, Joe Biden committed treason. Kamala Harris committed treason. General Milley committed treason. Ladies and gentlemen, the punishment for treason is death by hanging. Okay, so if you want to throw that word out there, you better be damn sure what you mean about it. Okay, because if we're hanging people in the streets, then we are no better than the French 200 years ago.
Yeah,
I think that's something we need to tamp down our language on, because we are not the left, and we do not tell people that we're going to start hanging generals in the street.
Right. I mean, the treason word is an interesting word, right? It's kind of like how the left continues to say racist. Look, you have to understand something, and this is going to get a lot of people upset, and that's okay. Maybe it'll help them wake up. There are issues that we have here on the right that we treat like liberals. Okay, we get crazy, caught up. We start yelling, screaming. You know what I mean? We're not the left. You have to remain better than these people. You can't do what they've continued to do. Look, you disagree with the left. They go, that's racist. Now, if someone disagrees with the right, we start screaming, that's treason. It's the same. Stop getting that impulsive. We have to remember to stay kind of that. Look, there are folks that are actually calling for it in the chat. I don't endorse that. That's just, I'm not going to, look, anonymous sources, like in Bob Woodward's book, we did not like it when it was written about Trump. We did not like it when Bob Woodward cited, was it Bolton or one of these other people?
Cited Bolton.
Some of these other people go, Trump called the dead suckers and losers. Remember that hoax? And it was in the Bob Woodward, The Room Where It Happened. That was the name of that book, The Room Where It Happened. Bob Woodward. All this other, this stuff from inside the Trump administration, but it was all anonymous sources, okay? Bolton was his own book. I don't think Woodward cited Bolton. He was all with the anonymous. We did not like it. So now we can't take those same tactics and act like this is absolutely what was going on. We know there's a story. We know something might have happened. Now we have to push for the answers. There are Democrats up and down Capitol Hill. There are Republicans up and down Capitol Hill, Rand Paul, a couple of others. By the way, Rand Paul just completely dunked all over Taliban Tony last night or yesterday. That was Taliban Tony.
I'm liking it. I hope that's
Taliban Tony yesterday. Tony Blinken. Oh, my goodness. You might want to think about knowing who you're going to bomb before you off someone with a Predator drone.
Yeah, when he was like, we don't do investigation.
We don't just go ahead and investigate someone after we kill people. We have to do an investigation before we kill people. Like it was 100% true. Think about it. It's really something. But back to General Milley, right? Apparently, he was forming secret back channels. This is going to be in the show notes. It's off of BonginoReport.com. The link. It's the greatest news aggregator out there, BonginoReport.com. You guys all know Dan Bongino, the great Dan Bongino. General Milley,
a Smithtown boy.
Yes, who controversially defended teaching Marxist critical race theory in the military, telephoned his Chinese Communist Party counterpart, General Lee, Zhu Cheng twice in the final months of the Trump administration. Milley's calls, according to Bob Woodward's and Robert Costa's new book entitled Peril, were aimed at restricting the president of the United States' abilities to wage kinetic war against China. Stunningly, Milley even secretly pledged to inform Beijing ahead of any potential U.S. military action. On the first call on October 30th, 2020, so the election had not even happened yet, okay? 4 days before the U.S. election, Milley assured his Chinese Communist Party friends that the United States would not attack China. And here's the quote. General Lee, I want to assure you that the American government is stable and everything is going to be okay. We are not going to attack or conduct any kinetic operations against you. Now, he was talking about the American government being stable. This is back on October 30th, 2020. There was no election. There was no questioning of anything yet. That's all it was. General Lee, here's another one. You and I have known each other now for 5 years. If we were going to attack, I'm going to call you ahead of time. It's not going to be a surprise, he added. Lee took the chairman at his word, and this came from the Washington Post and their notes. The second call between the two generals, of which Milley did not inform Trump, took place on January 8th, 2021. So it's 2 days after February 30th, the days what happened in D.C. that day. So, you can kind of, people are going to go, well, he couldn't trust him because of the insurrection. Doesn't mean you could subvert the chain of command. Milley is not in a position to do these types of things. And he goes on to say, things may look unsteady, Milley posited to Lee, adding, but that's the nature of democracy, General Lee. We are 100% steady. Everything's fine, but democracy can be sloppy sometimes. In response, Lee suggested that the Chinese Communist Party felt that the United States government was unstable during the hour-and-a-half phone call. Imagine that. You're getting China calling us unstable. Think about that, and that's where we are right now.
Well, right now it's so funny because the fact that General Milley has to explain to the Chinese general about democracy ought to tell you everything you need to know. Because, of course, your country may seem stable. You have a dictator who rules on high.
Right.
You're a communist regime. One guy just makes all the decisions, and whoever disagrees with him is dead.
That's the way that.
That's a really good way to gain stability.
Well, that's the same reason why. What was it? Everyone goes, well, the literacy rate was so high in Castro's Cuba. Yeah, because he killed all the people who couldn't read.
He killed all the people who couldn't read.
So, Milley believed that Trump would attempt to create a crisis in an effort to seize power. Quote, similar to Hitler. There we go. Because Trump and Hitler. Wait, by the way, they could not be more opposite people. All right, number one. But similar to Hitler's exploitation in 1933 of an arson fire at the German Reichstag to help institute emergency power, according to the Washington Post. We have partisan military leadership further down in the article. This now comes from, again, not a friendly outlet. We cited notes from the Washington Post. Now we're going to cite notes out of the New York Times. Again, I'm not saying that what happened here is true, and I'm not saying that I trust these outlets. What I'm saying is these outlets are putting out damaging information to the left, and these are left-wing outlets. So this is important, right? There may be something to this. There may not be something to this, but let's see what the New York Times had said. Later that day, General Milley spoke to Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Ain't that good, right? Ain't that great? This is, by the way, January 8th, 2021. Donald Trump is still the president of the United States, still the commander-in-chief. Later that day, General Milley spoke to Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who was growing increasingly concerned Mr. Trump would lash out and use military force. This is bad, but who knows what he might do, Pelosi said. He's crazy. You know he's crazy. He's been crazy for a long time, so don't say you don't know what his state of mind is. Madam Speaker, General Milley said, I agree with you on everything. General Milley, who was the president's top military advisor, is not in the chain of command and tried to reassure Mrs. Pelosi that he could stop Donald Trump. Quote, the one thing I can guarantee is that as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I want you to know that. I want you to know this in your heart of hearts. I can guarantee you this is him talking to Pelosi. I can guarantee you 110% that the military, use of military power, whether it's nuclear or a strike in a foreign country of any kind, we're not going to do anything illegal or crazy, he said. And then, well, Mrs. Pelosi said, what do you mean illegal or crazy? And Milley responds, I can give you my word. The best I can do is give you my word, and I'm going to prevent anything like that in the United States military. So this man is talking to the Speaker of the House, telling her that don't worry, even though I'm not in the chain of command, as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I will control the president of the United States and make sure that if he does give an order like that, that it is not carried out. This is something that is if this stuff is true, there are a lot of people, both Republicans and some Democrats, who are like, maybe a court-martial is necessary here. I'm not going to go ahead and say treason.
A court-martial would be absolutely right. He should lose his commission.
Yeah, a court-martial. These people have to go, and a lot of people in Biden's administration right now, if you want to call it that, I call it a regime, but this administration, whatever you want to call it, they need to go. There are people making decisions that have absolutely no idea what they're doing, and including Taliban Tony, but General Mark Milley also.
And we're talking about you, Lloyd Austin.
Yep.
I don't care if you sound like the guy from the Allstate commercial. Pedro Serrano from Major League. And guy. But, I just think that I always find myself being a little suspect of Bob Woodward's work, like you said.
Have to be.
And the fact is that, I think a court-martial would be necessary. I think he should lose his commission, and I think he should resign. But obviously, he's not going to.
He's not going to resign
because Democrats never do that.
No, Democrats don't resign.
Democrats never do that. But speaking of Taliban Tony,
yeah,
something happened from our good friend from the
great state of Kentucky,
the junior senator from Kentucky, Mr. Rand Paul,
the only senator that's worth half from Kentucky. Listen to Rand Paul grill Taliban Tony on the Hill yesterday on the drone strike in Afghanistan, because if you weren't familiar with this drone strike, they said that we took out an ISIS-K terrorist. We might have taken out a friendly, and this is a big problem.
We might have taken out a friendly and his whole family.
And his whole family in Afghanistan. So let's listen to Rand Paul here.
The guy the Biden administration droned, was he an aid worker or an ISIS-K operative?
The administration is, of course, reviewing that strike, and I'm sure that a full assessment will be forthcoming.
So you don't know if it was an aid worker or an ISIS-K operative?
I can't speak to that, and I can't speak to that in this setting in any event.
So you don't know or won't tell us?
I don't know, because we're reviewing it.
Well, see, you'd think you'd kind of know before you off somebody with a Predator drone, whether he's an aid worker or he's an ISIS-K. See, the thing is this isn't just you. It's been going on for administration after administration. The Obama administration droned hundreds and hundreds of people. And the thing is there is blowback to that. I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I see these pictures of these beautiful children that were killed in the attack. If that's true, and not propaganda, if that's true, guess what? Maybe you created hundreds or thousands of new potential terrorists from bombing the wrong people. So you got to know we can't sort of have an investigation after we kill people. We have an investigation before we kill people.
That's the big point. All right. You can't kill somebody and then go make sure you killed the right guy. You need to make sure before you're killing the right guy that he's the right guy. And that's something that apparently this administration struggled with and couldn't figure out, and now might have taken out an aid worker, not an ISIS-K militant or combatant or operative, an aid worker and his whole family in a drone strike in Afghanistan, because this administration and folks like Taliban Tony Blinken are completely inept.
Well, I was telling you last night, I had a member of my family tell me, well, why were they filling up water in gasoline jars? They saw the gasoline containers. And I had to remind them that, it turns out Poland Spring doesn't deliver to Kabul. Now that's first world problems.
Right.
That's white privilege.
Crystal Springs, well, you should be using a water container to store water, not a gas can. That's literally what white privilege is. Like, like some of these people don't have the ability to do that. So they do have to drink water out of gas cans. It sucks. Right. That sucks. But that's what happens when you don't have a free market and you're not living in a constitutional republic where the people make the decisions. By the way, That's going to happen here. If a lot of this inflation continues, that's what's going to happen here. You're going to be drinking water out of gas can. Oh, that's hyperbole. That's your fear mongering. You should fear communism. You should.
So the water's just a little spicy.
Right? Yeah. You know,
The water's a little spicy.
just a little flammable today.
A little unleaded.
You know, you could take the water and light it on fire. It'd be great.
Personally, I like my water 93, not 87.
Yeah. Oh man, I actually like. I like the corn oil. That one, because that's ethanol.
Oh, that's 85.
Actually, E85. It's ethanol, and actually, ethanol is what happens when you make moonshine. When you think about it, and I do make some pretty good moonshine.
Speaking of someone who clearly was drunk when they got dressed today.
Okay. You are out of your mind with these segues.
I am on fire,
No,
baby.
you're out of your mind with these segues. These segues are fit for a mall cop. I'll tell you right.
Fit for a mall cop.
Mall cops always they ride segues
Well, okay.
like champs.
The first one was great. This one was a little.
Remember on Sunday at the Back the Blue thing when I was making the cell phone noise and you were convinced for a solid 5 that you're like, so much phone ringing. I was like, someone's phone's going off.
Yo, I just want. You are lucky in that moment. I didn't have something to throw at you.
That was so funny. Did you see the Met Gala?
Speaking of,
Chick-fil-A was represented very well at the Met Gala. By Chick-fil-A, I mean looking at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's dress that said here, tax the rich, going to a gala that you had to pay $30,000 per plate, and she had to pay an additional $10,000. She goes, well, I borrowed the dress. That doesn't matter. You still found a way to come up with a ridiculous amount of money to wear a Chick-fil-A bag to the Met Gala that says tax the rich on it.
By the way, what the hell does that mean? She borrowed a dress?
Yeah, I don't know.
So she bought it and left the tag on it. Now she's going to go return it?
What
the hell does that mean?
Because someone else clearly wants to rent that. Tax the rich. In an interview with Vogue, the congresswoman from New York referred to herself as a working class citizen despite her $174,000 taxpayer-funded congressional salary.
And her Tesla in her luxury apartment in Washington, D.C. She grew up in Yorktown Heights, for Christ's sakes. There is nothing less working class than that.
Yeah.
And she's standing next to a woman who sells shoes for $2,000-$3,000. What the hell is her name? The fashion designer? I don't really care. On her website, we were looking at it last night. She sells a pair of socks for $65.
Ted Cruz owned her. He did like one of the old MasterCard commercials. Cost per ticket, $30,000. Virtue signaling to your base while partying without a mask with the people you claim to hate. Priceless.
See, here's the thing about revolutionaries, okay? Is that revolutionaries don't party with the people that they want to destroy, okay? Robespierre didn't go party with Louis XIII before he cut his head off.
Right.
All right? That's not he didn't show up at Versailles like, oh, well, thank you, King Louis. Now, can I please escort you to the guillotine? No, he stormed the Bastille. These people are so fake. And this one of Carolyn Maloney. This picture of Carolyn Maloney. It'll be in the show notes. She's wearing what looks like a ribboned dress. I don't even know how the hell you describe that.
I don't know what you would describe that.
But it says equal rights for women.
Yeah.
While she's maskless, while the peasants who have to serve her are standing behind them with their hands crossed, heads down, covered in a mask.
Yep. Well,
Carolyn Maloney, you old hag.
Some animals are more equal than others, as George Orwell said in Animal Farm.
Yes.
That's what's going on here. Look, you look at the vaccine mandate, the executive order, the 100 employees or more. You've got to get the vaccine. There are conspicuously a couple of exemptions. Number one is the Postal Service, which is interesting considering they're coming in contact with a lot of items and quite possibly people, but that's okay. I don't think anybody should be mandated to take this vaccine. But number two, who's exempt? Congress. Oh my goodness. Why are they not following the same laws when they're not laws? Why are they not following the same rules that they're asking us to follow? Every single time. Kathy Hochul, a couple weeks ago, that picture of her with all of her friends, unmasked, with the 5 kids masked up. Her own mandate said anybody inside of a school, adult or child, teacher or student, visitor or employee, has to wear a mask. And there she is, not wearing a mask. Last night at this board meeting, the flake of an attorney that we have for West Babylon decided to come out there and say, well, it's the law. We have to follow the law. We have to look at the law. It took me 30 seconds in the back of the room. I wasn't even planning, believe it or not, on saying a word last night. I didn't prepare anything. I wrote, how are laws created in New York State, in the back of the room? And then within 30 seconds on a Google search, I get this from the New York State, nysenate.gov, New York State's own website. It says it in plain black and whites. No law may be enacted in New York State unless it has been adopted by the legislature in bill form. And to be adopted, it must first be introduced. With a single exception, bills can be introduced only by legislators or by standing committees of the Senate and Assembly. That exception is the executive budget, which is submitted directly by the governor. This mask mandate and the policies that people are trying to convince you are law were not introduced the way laws are supposed to be introduced. They were not passed the way laws are supposed to be passed. They were not adopted the way laws are supposed to be passed and adopted. That all never happened. So there is no way that you can go ahead and look at what this governor is doing and call that a law. It is only a law. A mandate is only a law if we, the people, treat the mandate as if it's a law. If we all band together, not just Locust Valley and Massapequa, West Babylon came out and said, oh, well, if a couple of other districts do it, maybe we'll join in and we'll take a shot as long as our district can spend a little bit less money. You got $8 million in COVID money last year. You could spend $150,000 of it right now to take a goddamn stand, but instead what we got was a cop-out last night. Well, we would unmask the kids if we had the choice. Really? Because 4 weeks ago, a packed room full of people were asking you, if you had the choice, what would you do? And we're just waiting for the state. So that's BS. That's garbage. You're lying. And now you're saying, well, we would have done it if we had the choice, because now you're claiming you don't have the choice. So you're just passing the buck, and you're infuriating the community even more. They wanted to hear. They wanted to see. Lucy Camposano, president of the board of West Babylon Board of Ed, last night said, we knew, and everybody knew, that this governor was going to go ahead and mandate masks. Great. Yes, I agree with that. That doesn't mean you don't try. Why won't you try? If you're telling everybody 4 weeks after the fact, if you're telling everybody now that if you had the choice, you would move to let parents keep the choice with regards to masks, why wouldn't you have tried and at least indicated that through action to the community 4 weeks ago? Massapequa did it. Smithtown did not do it. Lindenhurst did it. Locust Valley did it. Island Trees, I believe, did it. No, Island Trees did not do it. I'm sorry.
Plain
Edge did it. Bethpage did it. Eastport South Manor did it. You had districts all over Long Island. Comac even half did it. William Floyd even half did it with the hybrid. If you're sitting down, you can take the mask off. There are districts in the state, but specifically on Long Island, who at least indicated to their community, look, this is what we're rolling with until the state changes it. West Babylon had every opportunity to do that. They had an opportunity to do that 2 weeks ago. They had an opportunity to do that 4 weeks ago, and they refused. And now, because they think they're handcuffed, they're going, well, we would have given you the choice if we were given the choice. I don't believe that, because it's a little late to be saying those things.
Well, because they think that the community is stupid.
Well, yes.
That's exactly what it is. They think the community is stupid, and they think that you're going to sit there and go, oh, well, I guess that their hands are just tied. So that means you don't try?
Right.
That means you don't try?
And that's why I asked the question.
And you know what? Not for nothing, but maybe if all of Suffolk County, if every Suffolk County school district came out unanimously together and told the governor, we are done with this crap, maybe she'd sit back and go, oh, crap.
Yeah,
that's 1.2 million votes I'm afraid of down there. Because
Right.
we all know Suffolk County is probably the reddest downstate area.
Yep.
Maybe she'd go, oh, shit, maybe I should relook at this. I'm sorry. I didn't. We are working on our 7-second delay here.
We got to be,
Because-
YouTube is, with all the bannings that are going on.
But, like Massapequa knows that this may not end well for them, for their lawsuit, but they're trying.
They're trying.
And,
Locust Valley, trying.
And you know what? I can't wait for West Babylon to join this lawsuit in a month.
Yeah. But
once they see that, we certainly don't want to be the last. We don't have the courage to be the first. But we don't have the stones to be the last.
Right. You know, they're going to jump in when 5, 6, 7 other districts jump in, because then it's it's just better cost-wise for the district. You know, and she even said last night, this isn't about your rights being taken away. This is about funding being taken away. That's the mindset. I get it. I get it. You don't want the district to lose state funding. I get it. I'm not saying to go out there and flush hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars down the drain. I'm not asking you to do that. What we were asking for was 4 weeks ago on August 17th, right dead smack in the middle of August, the first big meeting that West Babylon had. All people were asking was for you to say, if we're given the choice, we will give you the choice. They didn't say it 4 weeks ago. They didn't say it 2 weeks ago. They didn't say it 12 hours ago. They would not come. They did say it 12 hours ago, because now they're hiding behind the fact that, our hands are tied. But if they weren't tied, we'd give you the choice. You had the opportunity to actually act and show the people that that's what you would have done. You would not have been flushing money down the drain if you had said that and came forward with that information 4 weeks ago, because if the state comes out and starts to institute these mandates and you're scared into hiding behind these mandates, which are not law, because you're afraid of getting fined, at least the community would have seen what you were willing to do, what you were planning to do if you were given the opportunity to make those decisions. But you didn't do that. You waited until last night to do that because you're cowards. And not all the people on the board, but those who said, well, if we were given the choice, we would have done it last night, and refused to say it four weeks ago. You didn't take a stand. That's a fake stand, because actions speak louder than words. And the lack of action in this case speaks the loudest. The lack of action of this Board of Ed. They didn't even want to jump in the lawsuit right away. Now, to their credit, they all did. Most of them signed the petitions that the parents had last night, which is nice. That's good. That's fantastic. But she straight up said, don't give this to the Board of Education. Give this to Albany. Listen, there's nothing I would love to do than to hand deliver to Kathy Hochul the petition, and flip her the double barrel bird and say, GFY. There's nothing I'd love to do. But please, you've got to jump on these lawsuits. Districts all over the place. You've got to jump on these lawsuits. Be a part of the Article 78 case that Locust Valley and Massapequa are spearheading. The more names and the more resources that can be pooled into this lawsuit, the better the chances are of this lawsuit succeeding. But if we continuously have districts who are just afraid to dip their feet in the water, we're going to continue down the same path all year long, and these children are going to wind up in mass because nobody on these boards of education are pushing, and it's a disgrace. And even last night she goes, well, she said to a member, you think it's easy? Why don't you run a campaign? Careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for, because we've got 7 months, 8 months now till we got to start. Smithtown came together between us, the PBA, Save Our Schools, and a couple of other people in a month and a half. The campaigning was done over the course of literally 4 weeks from April to May 18th. Okay? So be careful what you wish for. Don't challenge the people like that, because the people will speak, and your little toy hammer that you bang around like Nancy Pelosi at all these meetings, you're not going to be banging that around next year. And if you are banging it around, nobody's going to be listening. You tell people not to interrupt one another, and you step on everybody who was speaking last night, right? Don't be a fraud. But I guess, sometimes people can't help it. She goes, you know how I felt about mass? I said, yeah, because I had a conversation with you at a bar. Okay. None of these people in the audience had that conversation. Now, all of a sudden they know. They think you were against them the whole time. Maybe you should have made that public. Maybe that's something you should have shared with the community. No, you choose to do it now when you think it wouldn't have as many consequences as if you had done it before.
Well, yeah,
it's cowardice.
She told you at the bar afterwards.
Right.
But we just happened to have run into her there.
Right.
But if we didn't just happen to stroll into the same Babylon Village bar that, by the way, I haven't been in about a decade.
It's been a while since I've been there too.
Last time I was there, it was half the size. But, when she says run, what it's like to run a campaign? Yeah, we do. Yeah. And West Babylon will be flipped. The town ain't that big.
No.
The town is not that big. And first off, our proximity to the town is very, very small. We are right there. So you know what the fact is that we can invest all of our time, all of our energy, all of our resources into flipping West Babylon because it's personal.
Oh, yeah.
It's personal.
It's definitely going to be personal.
It's definitely going to be
some
personal.
Fun. I see Catherine Shook going in here, writing change the names. I love it. I think that's something that's going to be really cool. That kind of we should. I know, no, that's because that's her comment. That's why it says hide. It says change the names. It's fantastic. So I'll switch it right back, folks. Once again, we've been disabled on Instagram. This is what Instagram our handle was. We got zucked a couple of days ago. He flicked his magic wand, and now we have no Instagram. So keep a lookout. I think we have it under review. We're going to wait a couple more days. If we don't have it up, I guess we'll start a new one. But I'm not going to say what it's going to be called because then they're just going to disable that one in advance or someone's going to steal the platform.
Yeah.
But we will have another one up soon. But our Instagram is disabled. So please go to officialloudmajority.com or loudmajorityus.com. Sign up for the newsletter. You will never miss a thing. And we also send you all the emails from the streams. So head over there, check it out. You can also pick up this really cool Not My President shirt that you see Kevin wearing. You can pick that up. We got a full inventory. A lot of stuff is ready to go. Hoodie season is upon us. 97 days until winter. Had to do it. Sorry.
97 days until winter.
We're in the double digits. I'm very, very excited. Although today it's extremely humid. Let me look at this because,
you can't even see outside the studio.
Yeah,
right
I know.
now.
There's just a haze in the air. I can't wait for summer. Oh my goodness.
And by the way, I'm fairly certain that today was everyone's first day on the road.
Oh, there's a lot of first timers out there today.
The Sad Coast Parkway is.
I had a person
you
who
have to put your life in your own hands when you go up.
I had a person who did not understand the concept of the green arrow. Make the damn left. What are you doing? It's a green arrow. You're wasting valuable time. I got stuck at a light for twice as long as I should have because I had a first timer in front. By the way, the temperature is 73 degrees, 90% humidity, and a dew point of 70. You could take that, all you summer lovers. I love you, okay? But you could take 90% humidity and stick that so far up the caboose-a-rooski that it comes out the mouth. I don't want to see 90% humidity. I don't want the mosquitoes. I don't want the bugs, although the maskers will tell me, oh, you don't want to be bit by mosquitoes? Just put a chain link fence in front of you. That'll stop them. Like, you know how COVID gets stopped by a mask. No. Okay. Like, I don't want, give me the snow. Give me 10 feet of snow. Please. Give me the ice. Freeze the Great South Bay. Give me 20 degrees every single day. You know why? Because there's no allergies. There's no bugs. There's no sweating and everybody's a happy person. Yep. Or maybe I'm just a happy person. I don't know.
Yeah, but don't give me the wind. The wind is a little rough.
We could take a want the wind. And I think Jackie's right there. She says she wants the fall. I don't get me wrong. I want the fall. I like the fall. The fall is nice. The weather's nice, but sometimes the fall kind of gets caught up in the summer. You know, there was like an October a couple of years ago where like it was October like 25th or something, and it was like humid. What are you doing? It's October. You're ruining my favorite part of the year.
I love reading these comments about the weather.
Yeah.
We should just do a weather forecast.
Well, I could do it. Okay, Trump the weatherman. Okay, it's mostly cloudy.
Just like an actual. Everything doesn't have to be Trump.
Yes, it does. Mostly cloudy with a chance of rain. When you look at it, it's going to rain like you've never seen before. For a great low rate, you could get online, go to the general, and save some time. Or for a low rate general, you could just talk to Sleepy Joe. He'll give you General Mark Milley.
Joe B. I'm not sure you're allowed to call it that.
Listen, yeah. So here we are. One more just to get through. We're talking about Lloyd Austin. Kevin announced or alluded to him before we cut out. Senator Bob Mendendez from New Jersey, another staunch liberal, staunch Democrat, not worried about re-election because he ran in 2018 and the senator's terms are 6 years, comes out and says that he is going to threaten to subpoena Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin over his refusal to answer for Afghanistan. This is on the Daily Caller. Democratic Senator New Jersey Senator Bob Mendendez threatened to compel, quote, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin to appear before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee on Tuesday. He says he's very disappointed that Secretary Austin declined the request to testify. Menendez, the committee chairman, said in his opening remarks to an appearance by Secretary of State Tony Taliban Blinken, I expect the secretary will avail himself to the committee in the near future, and if he does not, I may consider the use of committee subpoena power to compel him and others over the course of these last 20 years to testify. Quote, a full accounting of U.S. response to this crisis is not complete without the Pentagon, especially when it comes to understanding the complete collapse of the U.S.-trained and funded Afghan military. He continued, quote, his decision not to appear before the committee will affect my personal judgment on the Department of Defense nominees. This is big. It's a pretty big deal. You're seeing Democrats now starting to question what's going on because it's hard not to. Afghanistan was a disaster. This is something that was extremely preventable. Rand Paul talked about this yesterday when he was talking to Taliban Tony, and he was saying, hey, look, you gave up Bagram Air Force Base. You didn't have to do that. You should have held on to that before we got the hell out of there. And then if you were going to abandon the base and you were going to bomb somewhere, right? You're going to bomb an aid worker, or maybe he was ISIS-K. Maybe we should have taken out the $80 billion of equipment that were there so they didn't fall into enemy hands, get reverse engineered, and us get screwed on the battlefield going forward. If we go to Afghanistan for any other reason and they're walking around wearing our gear, do you know how much of a challenge that places on our troops? And then now they're going to have to look at friendly gear and have to question whether or not that's actually a friendly fighter. Do you understand what that does on the battlefield?
It's also just spitting in our face.
That's also true.
You know, it's like you lose a race and then the guy's driving your car.
Right. I mean,
they like right past your house. Oh, hey, how you doing? How you doing, pal?
Think about it. I mean, these soldiers are trained to recognize enemy equipment. They're not trained and recognize enemy equipment and shoot, right? They're not trained to shoot at U.S. equipment.
Not to mention the Taliban fighters at the time had been using AK-47s, which everyone knows is an incredibly unreliable,
horribly inaccurate.
Inaccurate. So now we give them the best military technology. They're spitting in our face. You wearing our uniforms, wearing the boots, flying Apache helicopters with people hanging off of them, whatever the hell that was. He wasn't hanging in the sense that they hung him. He was just hanging.
He was just on display.
So what does that mean?
Right. It's one of those moments.
He was hanging, but he wasn't hung.
He was just there. How did they figure out how to fly a Black Hawk, by the way? It's not just one of these, you turn the key, you press the up button, and you go. All right. And it's not just you jump in from one car, you get a rental car down in Texas and you drive it around for a few days because it's a Black Hawk helicopter. How the hell do cave dwelling savages of the Taliban know what that they probably don't know what the hell to do with a phone? How the hell do these people know what to do with a Black Hawk helicopter? So there's a lot of questions people don't want to answer.
But the big problem with the Taliban, as we've learned from the left, is that there's just not enough trans people in their cabinet.
Yes, they're not diverse.
There's just not diverse. There's not enough trans people in their cabinet. Not enough trans people. Is that the problem?
That's the problem.
Or is it the fact that you gave a country away to a bunch of 8th century goat herders?
Right. Yeah. But they're also not diverse. If they were diverse, things would be a lot better.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So someone here says this is one. He's always here. This guy Joe. It was CGI. It was a fake helicopter. So don't believe everything you see on TV. Thank you, Joe. I'm happy we got that there. Okay, cool. Let's see. Brian Lenz is saying it's easy to fly a Black Hawk, but he's a pilot. So I don't want to hear that garbage. Look, coming up on 7:58.
Yeah. Thanks, Brian. You know how to fly. Yeah. A Cessna's different than a helicopter.
Yeah, but he can probably still fly it. Guy's talented person, Brian Lenz. Likes the Rangers. Disgusting hockey.
First off, let's be clear. Flying the plane isn't hard. Landing the plane is hard.
It was my hardest time. When I played Flight Simulator, the hardest thing was landing. But every time I listened to the song Other Side by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I landed perfectly. Long story short. So if I ever was a pilot, make sure that song's playing in the cockpit while I'm landing your plane, or else it's not going to end well. If
that song's on, I hope you crash.
7:58. Okay, 7:58. We're getting ready. Another long, nice day. It's not necessarily nice out right now, 90% humidity, but thanks for jumping on the stream this morning. Once again, you can go to officialloudmajority.com or loudmajorityus.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Got a couple of events coming up towards the weekend. We'll talk about that more on Friday. But there is an event, a fundraiser here at the America First Warehouse for Ray Tierney. We're going to be putting that flyer up. Once again, we are coming here live from the America First Media Campus. Got a beautiful studio being built and put together here. Looks fantastic. Shout out Joe the Box. We love him. And we will be.
And guys, look, we're rolling into election season. All right. It's time for it's put up a shut up time. All right.
It is.
We can really make an impact on our local races. We know Dominic Thorne, Stephanie Bontempi, Ray Tierney. A lot of great people are running. I met the ISIL receiver of taxes yesterday.
Yep.
Andy Whitman, he's a great guy. We're gonna need bodies out on the street, and we're gonna make it worth it for you. You guys know the kind of fun we have when we do that. Smithtown was fun. We're gonna do the same sorts of things out here. We need your help, guys. We need you. We need no more memes, no more Facebook statuses, no more tweets. We need bodies in the streets doing the hard work, getting these guys elected. So come on down, meet Ray. David Zier's cooking, I believe.
Oh wow.
And nice. He's a fantastic cook.
David Zier. David Zier's fantastic. He's a great guy. I love him.
Great guy.
So come down. That's on Saturday. What time does that start at?
dinner time.
Dinner time.
Dinner
We'll get you
time.
the- we'll get
Dinner
you-
time.
We'll get you the specifics.
It's either 6 or 7.
We'll get you the specifics. Check it out on Facebook, Long Island Loud Majority on Facebook. We're no longer on Instagram, so hopefully we could fix that. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you on the Friday morning, 7 a.m. Until then, it's the 4 words that'll make people like the Board of Education of West Babylon and boards of education all over the place. It's the 4 words that'll make government and governors and all these left-wing lunatics that want to impose. It's 4 words we have to repeat louder than ever, and that is, those 4 words are, we will not comply. Until Friday, 7 a.m., you guys stay safe and stay loud. Catch you later.